It's weird that the Browns somehow have committed so much money to Deshaun Watson, yet their roster is stacked and loaded.
They're amazing.
They have everything you can possibly need. I looked at Deshaun's stats. 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 84.3 rating. Terrible. He played terrible. He had some bright spots. Moments. The Ravens game is the one that people allude to if they want to have some faith and belief in him. The stat that was alarming to me was that Deshaun Watson was 5-1 as a starter.
Yeah.
He was mid. He is the new age Jimmy Garoppolo. Just the name brand version.
And Jimmy Garoppolo probably played better.
You've been calling a lot of guys that.
Deshaun Watson could play average, and the Browns can still win 10 games.
Yep.
Their schedule is tough this year, but I seen their schedule, and I'm looking at it. For one, we have to get something straight. On the road, they were terrible. They were 3-5 on the road. I look at the road games. They faced Jacksonville. They faced the Raiders. They faced the Commanders. This is out of division road games. They faced the Eagles. They faced the Saints. They faced the Broncos. This is an easy road schedule.
I heard one team that I'm worried about.
That's this year, right?
Yes. At home, they faced their toughest opponents.
Oh, yeah.
The Cowboys.
That's
the
where
Chargers,
their defense plays the best.
The Chiefs. The Dolphins. And I put the Giants. These are the home opponents outside of division.
I know you respect the Giants.
He does.
I'm starting to realize
they're a good team. Most of the Browns' home opponents are playoff level teams.
Yeah.
Which means all their road games, a place they struggled in last year,
easy.
They're easier opponents. So it gives you more room for error. This team is just really good, man. And when I think about this defense and you're facing offenses like the Giants, Raiders, Commanders, Chargers, Saints, Steelers twice, and the Broncos, that's 8 games where your defense is just so much more talented than the opposing team's offense.
For sure. The Cleveland Browns... No. Happily. Go ahead. Happily.
You said a smile on his face at the moment he said Cleveland Browns.
No, it's just like the 5-1 record really warmed my heart, because Deshaun Watson was definitely ass last year, but this team still found a way to win.
Will he be ass next year?
That's the question, and I think that's the real important part of this conversation. I think we can talk about the Browns defense all day. It's exceptional. It has Denzel Ward. It has the crown jewel Myles Garrett. It has Zadarius Smith. Up and young coming corners and Martin Emerson and stuff like that. It has all that. The offensive line has talent. You have Nick Chubb coming back from an injury. If he's still at the same level, God bless his soul, because that injury was really nasty. You have Amari Cooper. You picked up Jerry Jeudy. Like you have David Njoku. We can talk about that all day, but in reality, it all comes down to that one position that's at the center. It's a quarterback position. They played with 4 quarterbacks last year. PJ Walker, Deshaun Watson, Dorian, DTR, whatever his name is, and Joe Flacco, who ended off the year. He was cool for a time, but he was on his couch a week before he got picked up. So, I feel like that was the moment that kind of held this team back from truly being great. Because if you put any high-level great to elite quarterback in this position, you're thinking Super Bowl. You're thinking Super Bowl or bust with this roster because it's that talented, top to bottom. It's that good. The home and away discrepancy with this defense was really odd. It was honestly funny. Like at times on the road, they didn't play well. They managed to get a couple good wins. I remember vividly that Colts game. It was like a 40-point game between both teams. It was just really odd, and then they ended up winning off the back of their defense. But then at home, starting the year off, shutting down Cincinnati. Having a comeback win against the Ravens. This team playing the Niners. They won that game. This team played really well. They played through adversity, and this year, it's really all going to come down to Deshaun Watson. And I think this is his last year to show what he can do. Because, last year you can give him his shoulder was messed up. The year before that, he missed a lot of time. Okay, whatever. You've had a full off season to work on your shoulder. You've had a good amount of time off. Now this year, the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski, they've built a championship level team around Deshaun Watson. You have to go out there and be what they paid you to be. Nobody's asking you to be top 5, but at minimum, top 12, top 13. You have to be something, especially in a conference where you have Mahomes, you have Josh Allen, you have Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud is creeping up. The Colts are right there. Tennessee just built their team. Their team is damn near stacked at this point. You know what I'm saying? And then you have other teams, the Steelers are always creeping, right? So you have a conference that's from 1 to 13, the teams are pretty fucking great. Your quarterback needs to be on the A game, especially with the schedule. It's not insane, but this team is thinking championship or bust. You have guys in their primes and Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, who are kind of the backbones of your defense. You have Amari Cooper who's getting up there in age. He's kind of in his prime too. It's all going to come down to Deshaun Watson and how he plays. If he's great, this team is a Super Bowl team. If he's not great and he's ass yet again, this team will just be a team that makes the playoffs and unfortunately can't get over the hump.
Riv made my job very easy right now because a lot of what he said is 100% how I feel. They're 100% predicated. Their success is 100% predicated off of how good Deshaun Watson is. How far they should go, I should really
Playoffs.
specify. Correct. Because you mentioned it, he didn't play that well. They still won 5 games out of the 6 that he took part in. If he can be a top 15 quarterback, let's not get crazy. Let's not get into top 10. I won't even put him in that. If he's the 15th best quarterback in the NFL, this is a team that we still have to look at to say they can win a championship. Because Joe Flacco came in there off his couch, like you said. He fell asleep at halftime after that Jets game, but he was still going out there slinging the rock that led to playing winning football.
He torched you
There's
guys.
no excuse with offensive play calling. Kevin Stefanski is one of the better play callers in the game. Two-time coach of the year. Nick Chubb, God willing, he's healthy. You have a great offensive line in front of you. You have very respectable weapons in terms of Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, who you failed to utilize the way that Joe Flacco has, and David Njoku put the whole world on notice while you weren't his quarterback. Joe Flacco showed the world that David Njoku can be a top 5, maybe even a top 3 tight end. That's how dominant he was. But they go as far as Deshaun Watson takes him, and that is pretty brutal given the fact of you gave him $240 million guaranteed. This was supposed to be signed and sealed. We're getting a come up, and he is your biggest, and in my opinion right now, your only question mark.
Yeah, the Deshaun Watson is interesting because Riv, you mentioned it saying this is his last year to prove it, but it's really not. He's going to be on the team in 2025 and probably 2026. Just looking at his contract, if he were to be released in 2025, pre-6/1 release, pre-June 1st release, $136 million in dead cap. If he was released post-June 1st, it goes down to $110 million in dead cap. No one's going to trade for this contract either. So when you give the dude, what was it, 250, 70, whatever million guaranteed, this is going to be the quarterback for the Browns, whether they like it or not. You could go out on the open market. You could sign guys like Jameis Winston. I believe they got Tyler Huntley as well. You could try to draft developmental players like DTR they did previously. But Deshaun Watson is likely going to be the starting quarterback for multiple seasons. And unfortunately, since he's came back or since he's arrived to Cleveland post-Houston, he just hasn't been the same guy. I think his first year there, you could say he was coming off suspension. He's a bit rusty. But then last season, even when he was healthy for those first couple of weeks, I think he's going to be great for fantasy. I'll say that. We'll shout to the fantasy reaction. I think he'll be great for fantasy because he's running the ball a lot, but I still, in the pocket, he does not look the same. He does not look like that Houston Deshaun Watson who was a top 5 quarterback. He was going toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs where he was just looking like, him and Mahomes are going to be the two dudes battling now for the next decade. He does not look like that quarterback, and that's who Cleveland traded for. But you guys mentioned it. Everything else on this roster is beautiful. You have one of the top defenses. You have one of the better coaching staffs. You have some weapons now, although I think Jerry Jeudy's still a TBD. David Njoku had a big breakout season, and this was a guy that was a first-round pick. He's super athletic. It took a few years for Travis Kelce to break out. Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Judy's TBD. Sorry, Amari Cooper stamped one of the better receivers in the league. Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry's not number one no more.
He was one of the best route runners in the league last year.
Shout out to Jerry Jeudy. Hopefully he breaks out.
I think he'll be better than Elijah Moore.
I was always right.
That's fair.
I was always right.
Better than
I
Elijah
actually
Moore.
double-checked his reception perception profile, and everything was red.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually?
No, yeah. No,
This
seriously.
previous year?
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm being dead ass.
Well, you guys looked that up, though. I'll just talk a little bit more about the Browns. So Nick Chubb, I think, is the biggest question mark outside of Deshaun Watson. He tore up his knee, as Riv mentioned, in a pretty brutal fashion early in the season. We don't know whether he's going to start the season on the pup, whether he's going to be healthy for week 1. Either way, even if he plays week 1, I think he's going to be eased into this offense. I think Jerome Ford still takes a bulk of the carries for the first month, even maybe 2 months of the season. But I think what you're hoping is that the second half of the year, week 9, 10, 11, 12, that's when we could see Nick Chubb get back to form. If he's able to, even if Nick Chubb is 80% of what he was last year and previous years, you're getting a top 10 running back.
Yeah.
So if you could rely on that, that's when this team really starts opening up. But if you have to bank on Jerome Ford to be your top run game, that's where I worry, because last season he was not very efficient. He's not great as a pass catcher, and him compared to a healthy Nick Chubb is just night and day.
He's awful.
Yeah, Joel has the Jerry Judy reception
red.
perception.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen.
He's good and flat.
No, anything underneath, he's cash. Damn, reception perception's interesting. So it has nothing to do with Russ.
No,
This has
is
nothing
just
to do with Russ.
This is just we're looking
This
at
is
the
just how
Get
Jerry
open.
Judy.
Did he win his route?
Yeah.
He
so
did not win
this
a lot.
this is the against man. He had a 70.7% success rate, 63rd percentile. But against zone coverage, he had a 70.3% success rate, which is 8th percentile, which is terrible. So
Bottom of the list.
he's a pretty average man-to-man receiver. In
Press,
zone,
he's 61st.
he's terrible.
Cedric Tillman's been getting some buzz out of minicamp as well that possibly he could break out and
Love
be the wide
that.
receiver
Hey, listen, zone press, he's good. He's solid.
Listen, I knew I watched a lot of Jerry games last year and felt like, there was moments I thought Russ could have gotten the ball, but there's also times where I saw Jerry just didn't have it. But as a route runner,
He got a little,
Still think
he
he's
got a
great.
little
So,
extension. from him.
Looking at this, just quickly reading it, he took 54% of his snaps in the slot. No, he lined up in this. Let me see. This year, given where he wins as a receiver, he's best suited to operate primarily as a flanker and winning in-breaking routes against man coverage. And that's perfect for him with this Browns fit because Amari Cooper's the X. Elijah Moore is going to play in the slot. So Jerry Judy is going to be able to play off the line of scrimmage and succeed. I think when you look at the chart, the red, obviously it's bad, it's damning, but he does do some things well. And he's not a number one, clearly, but
No.
he's not terrible either. I don't think he's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, if he could be, I think ideally he's probably a 3 in most offenses.
Yes.
What was his extension? What did he get? Like 10, 12? I don't remember. What
Maybe he got like
exactly.
14 mil a
Is it
year.
14
It was
a
like
year?
a Gabe Davis kind of
That's
deal,
not terrible.
honestly.
Nah.
Yeah. So, I was right when I was reading it earlier. He took 54% of his snaps in 2023 were in the slot. And that's not where he succeeds. So, his route tree could very well have been affected by just where he lined up. But just for his career, reception perception, from what I've read on Judy's profiles,
they don't love him.
they have never been that high on him, and they think that he's always been overrated as a route runner because what truly makes you a great route runner is how you can win against zone coverage, because that's when you have to find the weak spots in the defense and you have to sit into those zones. And Jerry Judy clearly does it at a pretty terrible level.
Hey, listen, not my problem anymore. Listen best.
Record prediction?
Let's do it, man.
All
I'm
right.
locked in.
Predicting the Cleveland Browns record in 2024.
We'll get the second seat.
Week 1, big game. Dallas Cowboys. You are home.
Give us a W.
Okay. Who's keeping track?
Want to know?
Okay. You were on the road against Jacksonville week 2.
It's a tough game. I'll say we start 2-0.
Okay.
Home against the Giants week 3.
3-0. We're home.
Okay.
Week 4 at the Raiders.
4-0.
Okay. Week 5 at the Commanders.
5-0. What the fuck is going on here?
Week 6 at Philly.
Okay, this is L.
Okay. 5-1.
Week 7 home against the Bengals.
We'll split, so we'll take the home one.
Okay.
Okay. 6-1.
Week 8 back to back, this time against Baltimore.
At home?
At
Yes.
I think Baltimore wins at home.
Okay. 6-2.
home. Okay. Week 9 home against the Chargers.
No, the week 8 Ravens game, the Browns are at home.
Yeah,
sorry.
I said Ravens
Yeah.
win at our home.
Okay.
Yeah. Beat the Chargers. I'm really not high on the Chargers. We'll take that one.
Okay. Week 10 is your bye week. So coming off the bye, week 11 at the Saints.
And what's our record?
7-2.
We're gonna lose one of these bad games. I don't know if it'll
Off
be
the
this.
bye, though?
Off the bye, I think we take this one, but I don't know if it's gonna be down the road. We'll take this one.
8-2.
Then week 12, this is a short week, Thursday night against the Steelers. You were home.
Steelers win.
Okay. You're home, though, even still.
Steelers win.
8-3.
Week 13, now you get a long rest. This is a Monday night football game at the Broncos.
They beat us last year. Browns.
Okay. 9-3.
Week 14 at the Steelers.
Browns.
10-3.
Week 15, home to the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
10-4.
Week 16 at the Bengals.
We took the first one, right?
Yes.
The Bengals take this one.
10-5.
Week 17, home against the Dolphins.
Browns.
That's a cold game. It's a cold game. Week
Browns.
17, Cleveland. This is December 29th.
This is Sunday Night Football, too.
Sunday Night
The
Football.
Browns take this one.
11
Oh, yeah, this is a 2 loss. Come on.
And you finish the
11-5.
season at Baltimore week 18.
Baltimore takes this one. Wait, I gave him the first one, right?
You did.
It's at Baltimore.
That's another game where is Baltimore playing for anything? Where are we right now?
This is right. If he says they win, this is 12-5.
Okay.
I'm fine with 11-6.
Okay.
Baltimore takes this one.
Damn. So we had Baltimore,
And I think that
Cincy, and
the first couple weeks, what was it
all around
against?
line
Who was the first 3 games?
they were pretty easy. They were Commanders.
I think the second one they can lose this one.
Cowboys, Jags,
Jacksonville could be a
Giants.
loss. I can see.
But then
them
you have the
losing
Raiders,
that.
Commanders.
But I think after like the first 2, I think they'll split.
I agree.
But then after that, I think you can really walk through it.
That's why taking a look at the Browns' schedule, it says it's hard, but I'm
terrible.
looking at it and I'm like,
Ain't
it's
bad.
actually a lot of favorable opponents and favorable
Maybe they're
matchups.
projecting other teams would be a lot better.
Yeah, and when they play them as well, it matters because a lot of their tougher
Miami
opponents
in the cold?
are at home. Exactly. Sunday Night Football, come on. If there's ever been a 2
Bright lights.
rating on it, it's right there.
To a bad
Elite
game.
defensive line.
Oh, come on. Myles
Sunday
Garrett and the
night.
boys.
Get your licks in now.
We'll talk.
And even the
week
Chiefs
17.
game, like
We'll talk
week,
week 17. We'll talk
15,
week
December
17.
game, you could hope maybe there's some weather there, muck it up.
Last year, the Chiefs lost to the Raiders on Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that can happen. I think the overarching theme of everything you guys
Wasn't that
said.
Mahomes' like worst game?
Yeah, it was a great
was
Christmas
terrible.
for me.
Yeah. The overarching theme of everything you guys said is that Deshaun Watson has no excuses
No.
this upcoming season. Dell's mentioned his contract. The Browns can't get out of it.
Nope.
Deshaun is going to be the starter in Cleveland unless some disaster happens where he's just completely terrible, where he's not even serviceable anymore. He will still start for this team, but I will say this. If Deshaun Watson doesn't pick up his play soon, once that contract is done, Deshaun Watson could be out of the NFL. Because if Deshaun showcases that he's not a good starter, or at the very best, he's a borderline replacement level starter, no team will take the risk on him. And there is no way, with all the distractions he brings, he will be a backup quarterback.
How crazy. Sorry, do you have more to say?
No, that's it.
Okay. How crazy do the Browns have to feel, the front office ownership, that they gave out a fully guaranteed contract to this guy after all of the off the field stuff? And then you see Mahomes, Josh Allen, all of these dudes who are
definitely feels
so
sick to
much
the
better,
stomach.
and they're not even getting fully guaranteed contracts.
Would you not? I feel like the guy they thought they was giving it to was on his way to that level.
No, for sure.
He was just coming off.
But
his
just the
best
risk
season.
that comes with it, you know?
It was all that stuff that happened. It really fucked them. It really did.
It's crazy
mean,
because
The
I
risk
think
was
if,
there.
I'd
Himself
feel much
too.
better about the Browns if Baker Mayfield was starting right now. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
I'm not mad at that in hindsight. I'm not mad at
Because
that.
Baker, you're getting like a top 20 baseline.
But you still don't feel great.
You probably don't know. You probably don't feel Super Bowl upside, but I don't feel Super Bowl upside if Deshaun, unless Deshaun comes back. But if it's
Brock
Deshaun,
Purdy
we
was
got the
there, I'd
last
feel
2
great.
weeks.
Cook.
Because he's already done it. Just saying. He's already, he's already
I don't
shown that he can
completely
get
disagree.
there with a stacked
I
team.
guess.
AFC a little different. AFC going up against Mahomes potentially in round 1 or
Not
2,
moved.
not the Super Bowl.
Not
you
really
know?
moved, He's done it before. Lions.
You know what's crazy, man? I was watching the game back the other day. Brock Purdy actually had a really good first half. He had a really
Against
good first
Detroit?
against the Chiefs.
Oh, the Chiefs.
Against the Chiefs, he had a really
Life
good
went
first half.
downhill after that.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
We were up 10-0.
We was crazy.